guys, it's Julie from Plan to Create, and today I wanted to share with you a Plan With Me August, but I thought I would take it a little step further and talk about how I plan in layers. So there's 4 different layers I basically use as I plan out my weeks. The first is kind of my foundation layer, and I'll walk you through that process. Second is more my decorative setup. I know where I want to put my deco, I know where it's not going to be in the way of my plans, so I'll share that with you. The third layer is more about my events and my schedule, things that are basically unflexible. They're going to be there, so I have to work around them. And the last layer I'll share with you is about fitting in all the things that I need to get done around the things that are on the schedule. So for me personally, this is the hardest layer to accomplish. The other ones I've kind of got a system. This one I'm still working through, but the more I practice it, the better I'll get, right? And I'll go into more detail with it when I get to that section. But that's kind of the layers that I plan in, and so let me walk you through how that looks on my pages. The first layer is the foundation, and you may be using a planner that is already bound, that's already dated, it's already decided for you, so your foundation stage is set. You don't have to do much. For me, I personally am in half-letter discs right now. I print my own inserts, so my foundation part does take a little bit more time. As you can see here, I print them out, I trim the pages in half, and then I punch them here with my Levenger punch. The next stage for me in building my foundation is to come through and add some dates. You could write these in, you could use stickers. I really enjoy using stamps because as I stamp on the paper, if I need to, I'm able to write over that without any conflict. I'm not having to skirt around a sticker or work around anything. I'm basically able to add my meal plan here, and then I just write the meals that we're having right over that little dinner plate. It just they work really nicely together. Last stamping I'll do is just throwing this August up on the top left corner, and I'm using my Mink ink from Close to My Heart with this Studio Calico monthly series stamp set. The last step in building my foundation for this particular page is to add my customized headers down here at the bottom. I have basically assigned a very specific title for each of these lists across the bottom, and I use them pretty much the same week after week after week so that I know where to find information that I'm looking for. And you can see I have grocery, home, errands, to buy, share, to do, projects, and then incoming. So those are basically the little triggers that will help me create my to-do list each week. And like I said, I had stickers customized. They're even in the same order, and it works really nicely. I can just lay them across the page without giving too much thought to it. In true Julie fashion, I jumped straight ahead and started planning my next layer way out of sequence. So I'm giving you a sneak at that, but I'm going to come back and talk about this later. Hello, layer 2, my favorite. I'm giving you a peek here at the materials that I typically use to build my second layer, the deco layer. So basically, I love to have some decorative elements on my pages, but I definitely took me a long time to figure out how to use them. I didn't want to sprinkle them throughout my pages because I might want to use that space sometime later for an appointment that pops up. So I have learned over time that my sidebar is my favorite spot to throw down some beautiful stickers that make me interested in coming to my pages. And I'm showing you here how I used that sidebar back in April. And I'm looking for myself too, kind of like, what order did I use? Do I want to repeat that? I clearly kind of figured something out, so I want to just go with what I already know versus trying to recreate the wheel. So I'm looking at that, kind of eyeballing what of those elements I want to repeat and which ones, I might flip around. It's a little bit tricky to see, but can you guys see the Today Clear dashboard that I have there? I'm using that because I want to put my stickers on that in order to line them up and get them spaced out well in that section. This is kind of a slick little trick. You could use plastic wrapping from sticker packaging. You can use just about anything, but it would just give you a nice little surface that you can then peel off later. Now, while I love me some deco on my pages, this is probably not my favorite part. Getting these stickers to line up perfectly on a sidebar when they're, a little bit different widths with the calendar box, and just, trying to make sure. And honestly, they are cut so tight on this particular sidebar. I did not have much room in order to fit, 4 columns across this page. So these are a very tight fit. I literally have to lay each sticker down maybe twice, 3 times. So I'm cutting through some of that so that you guys don't have to watch the painful process. But hopefully you see the end result and think it's all good. Here's where my decorative section meets a tiny bit of function. I do add in my week number so that I can quickly and easily see the week number at a glance. And then I also use that top box to tell me what my focus area for my home is this week. I feel like these full box stickers are sort of the star of my planner show, so let's just enjoy the evolution of these little sidebars. I start with the sticker on the bottom, and then I'm just going to kind of slowly build my way up to the top. I also feel like this is a good time to mention that these are from the Planner Spot. This video is not sponsored or endorsed by her, however, I just love her products and love to share them. If you enjoy them as well, you can save 10% on your order by using the code Julie10 at checkout. Fun fact, I totally hate to measure, so I went to all the precaution to space my stickers out in the beginning on that plastic sheet. Thought I had it just nailed down. Of course, there's space, awkward space between the top two stickers. So you're going to see that the thin washi strip included in the kit kind of comes in and saves my bacon here. It makes it look a little bit more proportionate. And then on that second week, I don't necessarily want to add more gray. I think that's my reasoning. So I just simply take my Tombow pink marker and draw in the spacer there. So this portion does kind of combine the first two layers. You could call this maybe decorative foundation work. I'm not sure. You can see I'm coming through and stamping August. I thought that that little stamp from scrapbook.com fit perfectly in that little space. So I wanted to do that. And then I am coming through and adding the week numbers, and I will come back and write week over that. That is an important order. Stamp first and then write. Otherwise your stamp will pick up the ink from your pen. Just letting you know that. Okay, so I think we're entering layer 3 of the planning, and that's where we add in the scheduling and events. And if you're like me and you do pre-plan a little bit as something comes up, you're gonna have some of these things written down. No big deal. It's also an opportunity to pull out your iCalendar, your Google Calendar, to plug in the events, see where they all fall. And for some of you, this is like a crazy hectic portion of your planning. This is like trying to create a puzzle where you're fitting in, like who's taking the kids here because I have a meeting here, and I get that. And I'm not particularly in that stage of life anymore. I totally have been there. I understand it. So for me right now in my stage, planning is like, okay, so I have 3 things going on this week. Obviously, I'm not going to sit on my butt and do nothing the rest of the week. So what am I going to do? And I use these down here to help determine that. And that's kind of how I roll. So let's see how this works. Okay, so because I don't require all of that time, the first thing I did is just come through across the morning. I'm usually up by 7, but this is kind of my morning routine, coffee time hour. So this is something I'm doing almost out of habit. I am going ahead and adding in a workout schedule, which technically this is still not like events and schedules that are absolutely unchangeable, but now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna refer to my iCal there on my phone and actually plug in scheduled items. I don't carry my planner out on the land with me, so if I'm at an appointment and make a new appointment, I put it in my iCal and then write it down later. Okay, that's literally the gist of my schedule this week. So I have a few things coming and going, and so from that, I will now migrate the things that didn't get done last week to these tasks below. I will brainstorm some of the things that I want to get done this week, and so that really begins this 4th layer. And like I said, this is probably the hardest layer for me because I don't necessarily see openings like this in my schedule and go, oh, I can work on that task. But I mean, for instance, my husband's going to be going to the office that day. That's a perfect time for me to film or voiceover, so I'm not worried about any noise happening in the background. So obviously that's like a quick no-brainer that I can take care of right there. And then scheduling wise, I do try to plan all of my appointments or errands on Tuesdays, therefore leaving me Wednesdays that I can be at home. So you see I block out that big chunk of time and I'm able to tackle some of the home tasks that I need to get done, as well as some of the things I need to work on for Plan to Create. So it's during this stage that I'm referring back to my previous week to see if there's any tasks I need to migrate forward. You'll also see here that I'm pulling out the monthly foldout that I've designed and customized for myself. Each week I have these items listed that are recurring tasks, and I break them into the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th week of the month. So I'm jotting those down to make sure I get them done as well. I'm going to just put the sticker kind of at the bottom of my to share. That'll be the video that I'm working on publishing this week. I try to brainstorm some ideas of things I could share on Instagram that technically support the last video that I shared. So the last video I shared was my July flip through. So in that I mentioned some of my favorite products. I mentioned some things that worked for me in the month of July, some things that didn't. So I just feel like I like to also put some of those ideas over on Instagram because I recognize that there's not perfect crossover. Not everyone that watches my YouTube follows me on Instagram. Not everyone on Instagram that follows me there watches my YouTube videos. So I'm trying to cross-populate some of my ideas instead of trying to come up with brand new ideas for each platform. So that's pretty much it. I have all these little triggers. I have ideas written in here. I have, you know, the back of my fold-out calendar with things that I need to get done for this particular week of the month. So I'm learning to start to jot things down that way, and so I'm not gonna have as many things fall through the cracks. But like I said, this is a hard layer for me in my planning process, and it's one that I just feel like I'm gaining some momentum on. I am getting stronger and better, but it's still just gonna take a lot of practice for me. So sharing that, sharing the whole package, you got to see it from the beginning to the end. All right, so that's basically it. That's how I plan in layers. I have never taken the time to really break it down like that, but that's kind of good for me because I can start to compartmentalize and maybe even focus a little bit deeper on some of those layers. Which leads me to the question, I'm very curious of those layers, what are you interested in me sharing here on this channel? I would love to hear from you below in the comments. You can just type 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever one is of most interest to you. And after that, I just wanted to thank you for being here, for joining me, and if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and I invite you to subscribe if you'd like to do that as well. Alright guys, take care.